So they will bring the ball out to the 35-yard line. That is 30 yards from the spot where the kickoff took place. And Denver will move on offense. And let's look at that offensive line with Gary Zimmerman, John Melander, Dave Wydell, Brian Habib, and Russell Freeman.
And look a little for Don Maggs, their prize free agent, play a lot today, as well as Keith Karts, normally their starting center.
Backs and receivers led by number 7, John Elway.
When they go to their nickel package on offense, look for Glenn Milburn out of the backfield. He can do some exciting things, particularly on AstroTurf.
First down, 35-yard line. Elway comes out throwing. Has pressure right up the middle. The pressure was from Jeff Bryant.
Charlie, a big concern for the Seattle Seahawks is the fact that whether or not they're going to be able to generate a pass rush. You can see when we look at the front 7 here, 2 key people are missing, and that is Rufus Porter and Michael Sinclair. That's 9 sacks worth that's out of that front 7.
And in the secondary, Harper, Hunter, Blackman, and Robinson.
And take a look at a lot of nickel dime that they're going to be playing with Raphael Robinson and Dave McClewing forcing the Denver Broncos to run the football.
Rod Bernstein is the remaining back. He takes the pitches around the corner. He has about 7 yards on the play. Eugene Robinson, the free safety, moves up to make the tackle.
A lot of question as to whether or not Rod Bernstein has really justified that big money that he got, 1.7 per year for 3 years. Bernstein had a career average of 5 yards per carry heading into this season. You can see right there, 3.5 yards per carry. That's not quite cutting it. But let's also not forget, Rod Bernstein also has over 30 catches, so it's not as if he hasn't made a contribution.
John Elway does spread the football around. He has 5 receivers with 30-plus receptions. Third down and 3. And Elway to throw. A little low over the middle. It is incomplete. Bernstein, the intended receiver, so an inauspicious start for Denver. It is 3 and out. They will be kicking.
And an inauspicious start for John Elway. He's got plenty of time to make this throw. Look at that. He throws before he gets to his back foot a little bit too low. Tough catch for Bernstein. And Elway knows, I should have waited. It wasn't that big a pressure. I could have got him the ball.
So Tom Rowan will be kicking. And Kelvin Martin is the return man. Good kick.
Oh, man.
Oh, he sails this one. 5-yard line. Stumbles a bit, returns just across the 10 in the neighborhood of the 11 or 12-yard line where Reggie Rivers makes the tackle. For the Seattle Seahawks, Rick Meyer, the rookie, having a very good year for rookie. We'll be talking about that. Here's the offensive line in front of him of Roberts, Grills, Donaldson, Hitchcock, and Heck. And there's Meyer with John L., Chris Warren, Kelvin Martin, Brian Blades, and the tight end. Miami, they called him the Trees, Merrill Edmonds.
You take a look at the other tight end, Paul Green, who makes some big catches in clutch situations.
From the 12-yard line, it is a first down, and Seattle comes out from good protection, goes deep, forces it a bit. Excellent coverage. He was going to Brian Blades, but Steve Atwater was right there.
Yeah, right there and then some. Take a look at Brian Blades, cuts across the field in the crossing route. Inside-out coverage, which means once he comes to a certain spot, that's going to be Atwater on him. The question here is whether or not this is a catchable ball. Both come back for the ball. Good non-call by the official.
So it will be second down and 10. When we talked with Atwater yesterday, as he walked in the room, he had an interesting comment. We'll pass it on right after this play. And we have flags flying. Chris Warren is the ball carrier. Now the officials will sort it out.
Broadcast.
And here is Chris Warren, and he is met by Carl Mecklenburg. Now let's look at the defense of the Denver Broncos. Ronette, Cragen, Williams.
Don't forget there at strong safety, number 40 is replacing Dennis Smith, the Pro Bowl strong safety. And you can see there the nickel package, dime package rather. It'll be interesting to see how much of a loss Steve Smith has been. There's number 40 Hall, who's replacing a veritable legend there in Denver.
Third down and 6. He gets it away, saves the possibility of a safety, and it was Steve Atwater who was right there.
Now, here's an interesting point now with the new rule. Because of the new rule, he was able to throw it away. Take to the right of your screen. Now watch, he takes off. He is outside the tight end. Now he can just get rid of it. Now a couple of years ago, they would have thrown the flag, and that would have been a safety. But now with the new rule, he gets it off. Safe flag.
And it is 4th down, so Rick Tootin will be kicking, and Glenn Milburn is the return man, and could give Denver excellent field position. He has such great quickness on the artificial surface. Not that good a kick.
Yeah, but he should have run up.
And with the roll, it's going to turn out to be a pretty good kick. It'll be down around the 37-yard line of Denver Broncos. Russell Freeman, starting right tackle, sprained ribs or strained ribs during the warm-ups and has been replaced by Don Maggs. So we're seeing Maggs a little bit earlier than we thought we were going to. And he will be at right tackle.
Maggs was one of the first free agent millionaires in the National Football League, one of those very prized left tackles that, of course, when he injured his back, they went out and spent the money to get Gary Zimmer and put him on the left side. So when Maggs came back healthy, now you find him on the right side. And there you just saw Freeman there with a big ice pack around his midsection.
No score in the ball game. Denver, first down. They start this drive from the 37-yard line. This is dumped over to Rod Bernstein. Now, when we talked with the Seattle Seahawks, this is what they wanted to force Elway to do, and here is why.
Well, over the last 5 years, you can see John Elway's percentage not particularly good. Look at that, 10% more, and of course, yards per game. This bespeaks what Wade Phillips talked about, and he says, we've got the horse, we've got to ride him. We've got to give him every opportunity, averaging 35 throws a game, as we mentioned at the top of the show, throwing more than any other quarterback in the National Football League.
But Seattle wants it just to dump it off in underneath the coverage. He goes to the far side to Derek Russell. And it'll be the 49-yard line of Seattle where he goes out of bounds. He picks up the first down with Patrick Hunter and Eugene Robinson there for the Seahawks.
One thing about dumping it underneath, though, the Denver receivers have done a good job after they catch the ball. You can see here Russell cuts right upfield to get the first down. And last week against Pittsburgh, they're making just some acrobatic catches that John Elway told us yesterday. He said he's not afraid to make some of the throws in the past he might not have made.
At the Seattle 49, first down, no score in the ball game. Here's a sweep, and here's Adrian Bernstein carry. He's going to pick up just about a yard. What Seattle in reality was saying is that if we can force Elway to throw underneath, little dump-off passes, is that somebody else is going to have to beat us. They want to set it up so that this man, number 7, does not beat them. And if they lose, they will lose to the other player.
Well, that's kind of hard to do because that's the man that gets his hands on the ball every single play. So
I know. I just said I'm the messenger. That's what they said they wanted to do. Seemed like a good idea at the time, you know. It's second down and 8. And here is Bernstein to the left side with the block out in front by Robert Delpino and Patrick Hunter up inside.
Seem to be very effective running to the left side. That's the second time now that Bernstein's got 5+ yards running to the right side of the Seahawk defense.
And you see Denver rushing. Here's the reason. In their 6 wins, they average 116 yards rushing per game. In their 4 losses, only 78.
And Wade Phillips said that wasn't that big a deal, but I disagree with him. I think that is quite a disparity because once you can establish a little bit of the running game, that forces the defense to be back on their heels, and that gives John Elway more time to throw.
The Seahawks, the fans here in the Kingdom. Elway has pressure. He goes deep, overthrows. It is intercepted. And Eugene Robinson with the interception. And he is out at the 24-yard line.
Absolutely awful throw by John Elway.
Coming in because he is the team barber.
Now, because of all the things he does. We just mentioned his 7th interception. He also leads the team in tackles, calls defensive signals. And interestingly enough, Charlie, earlier in the season when Rod Stevens was out, normally the middle linebacker does all the play calling on defense. Eugene Robinson not only called the secondary calls, but he called all of the defensive positions. That's right now, if you had to bet the house, that's the all-pro free safety in the National Football League.
John L. Williams, Chris Warren are the 2 running backs for the Seahawks. Now looking at a second down and 3. The ball just outside the 31-yard line. And we've got flags again. And so Denver off to a bit of the 36-yard line. Seattle has a first down. Meyer to throw. Stands in, goes deep, throws over the wrong shoulder. Farrell Edmonds, the tight end, was looking over his left shoulder. The pass was over his right shoulder. How tough is that for a tight end to make that adjustment?
Well, it's not just the fact that it's difficult, but John L. Williams is in the same spot. Somebody made a mistake here. Take a look. There's 82, and right next to him to the right, if he comes into your picture, is number 32. He had the mismatch he wanted with Mecklenburg on Edmonds, but you're right. He threw it over the wrong shoulder, and Williams is in the wrong spot, too.
Second down and 10. The ball at the 36-yard line.
Edmonds twice made the Pro Bowl when he was with the Miami Dolphins. But interesting, I was talking to Howard Mudd yesterday, and he told me the best blocker they have on their team, not just by position, but their best blocker is Farrell Edmonds.
Chris Warren, the ball carrier, and he's going to pick up about 3 on the play. Dan Williams with the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
I think that play is typical of how they really, if this is the right term, rein Rick Meyer in. Tom Flores realizes that with a rookie quarterback, he can't take too many chances as opposed to the other side. And, of course, here the 3rd down defense for Denver is outstanding.
Their opponents have converted that's like at 32% on 3rd down. That is the lowest in the NFL. Meyer from the shotgun, deep over the middle, and it is incomplete. He's going to Kelvin Martin.
And now John L. Williams wide open in the flat. Those are the sort of throws a veteran quarterbacks make. The deep in route is difficult. Rick Meyer, first time all year in the shotgun. Take a look as he surveys the field. Plenty of time. Sits back there. John L. Williams gets open to the left. But there he tries to slide it in. That's good coverage by Lilo Lang. Tough throw for any quarterback to make. And
one of the ways you could tell it was the first time in the shotgun, and that was a snap from Ray Donaldson. It was kind of hot and wobbly. You had to wait on it. That's Glenn Milburn, and he has said,
oh,
and he almost hit the top of the dome. He nailed this one. 60 efficiency rate.
And as a result of that, he is on top. This is something very interesting because coming into the season, Charlie, he was 38th on the career list of efficiency in terms of quarterbacks, and now there he is, number 1 in the AFC, number 3 in the National Football League. Very impressive.
Slow start today, 2 for 5, 14 yards, 1 interception. First down Denver, 20-yard line, no score. And here's Robert Delpino for a couple of yards on the play. He might get squeezed 3 out of that, but that's all that he's going to get.
Robert Delpino is somebody that 2 years ago was an outstanding back for the Los Angeles Rams and kind of got lost in the shuffle last year. So he was signed on by the Broncos, and people felt like, well, what kind of a contribution he's going to make if you spend all the money to get Bernstein? But the reality is this is the man who scored 7 touchdowns. Terrific receiver out of the backfield as well.
Second and 7. And here is Bernstein. The inside out move, and then he's up into it. Rod Stevens. He was there waiting for him. Now, Bernstein is 6'3", almost 240 pounds. And talk about getting him at the ankle. Well, he got him so well, he almost took us off the air.
Well, Rod Stevens there has been missing the last couple of weeks in great speed and shows a lot of range getting out to Bernstein. As a result of his injury, they signed not 1 but 2 middle linebackers in Dino and Ray Berry to take his place.
3rd down and 8, loss of the yards. Antonio Edwards and Michael McQuarrie, they are the 2 rookies to pass rush. Elway fires it down the middle, and it is broken up by Dwayne Harper. Greg Russell, the intended receiver again for Denver. Ruin to kick. Not that good a kick. Kelvin Martin moves up, and he's going to stay away from it, and that's going to cost him about 10 yards. Maybe a couple more. It'll roll almost to, it does, the 30, and now to the 29-yard line. There is a flag down. Buffalo has just scored with 4:14 to go in the first quarter to move out in front of the Chiefs by a score of 7-0. And here in the Kingdome, we have no score between the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks.
Charlie, by the end of the day, you pointed out earlier that there was 3 games separating first and last place. This weekend, rather, because San Diego plays on Monday night, it could be 2 games from first to fifth. Amazing.
Chris Warren, the ball carrier, he's going to pick up 8. Mike Kroll makes the tackle. From that
noted college of Ferrum, real football factory. You know, interesting point here with regards to the young quarterback, Rick Myrer. Comparisons are inevitable for himself and some of his predecessors. We're going to get to that after this play.
Second down and 2 tight ends on the set. Play action fake, little swing, here's tag. Tracy Johnson has it, and he will have the first down. Nice catch. He had to do a quick 360 before Simon Fletcher wrapped him up, and it's a first down for the Seahawks.
Typical of the kind of throws that he has, but that, you know, that happens early in your career. People have looked at his statistics and, hey, let's contrast him with another rookie quarterback. Look at that.
10 years ago.
Take a look at what Elway did initially. People forget that he really struggled early on. The completion percentage less than 50%, but notice the touchdown to interception ratio is identical in both cases, 2-to-1 on the bad side.
I remember covering John in his rookie year, a game in Chicago against the Bears in Soldier Field, and they sent everybody after him. I mean, he really was he took a beating that first year. And I guess that's just part of the learning process. If you can live through it. Simon Fletcher got a fistful of jersey, and he also gets the sack.
Simon Fletcher's been around the block with that sack now. He ties Mecklenburg for the all-time lead. They keep trading back and forth. Now it's 78. Nobody blocks him. It's supposed to be a quick hitch in that right hand, and those tackify gloves stick to number 3, and that results in the sack.
So spot the ball at the 25-yard line, loss of 7, and it'll be 2nd and 17. So Denver now will go with their nickel package. Doug Thomas comes in as another wide receiver for the Seahawks. Paul Green, as a little bit of an H-back, shows some motion, ends up as a lead blocker for John L. Williams, and that doesn't accomplish a lot. And it'll be 3rd down and long.
We mentioned Simon Fletcher earlier catching up to Carl Mecklenburg with that sack, tied at 78. Of course, you remember Rulon Jones, Pro Bowler in the 80s. I guess they go back and forth. Mecklenburg hitting into this game, by the way, Charlie, had 9 sacks. Pretty impressive for somebody that has to go down as a down lineman at 3rd down. You see him lined up there, defensive tackle at 235 pounds. He says, you know what, I guess I'm going to have to eat a little more.
3rd and 14, 4-man rush pass over the middle is underneath the coverage, will not pick up the first down. Doug Thomas on the receiving end, and Lilo Lang, the nickelback, along with Steve Atwater, bring him down. It'll be 4th down.
It doesn't do much in terms of getting the first down, but it does something for Myers' confidence. First of all, he hangs in there, gets the completion, even though it's short of the first down in this game in the first quarter, which clearly is indicative of exchanging punts. That gives him another 8 yards and helps Tootin.
And Rick Tootin will be kicking, and Glenn Milburn is the return man for Denver. Coming into the ball game, this young man with 860 yards, all-purpose yards, return, receiving, and rushing. Inside-out move, looks for a block, kind of backpedals, holds his balance. Pretty good return to about the 26-yard line, where Tracy Johnson makes the stop. Show those particular standing speeds, and now we'll show you why right after this play. Elway will throw from the 25-yard line, will swing near side and will play low to Robert Delpino. And the reason that we were looking at those particular standings is that next Sunday, NBC Sports will present another on NBC. Second down and 10. Elway guns it. Pass is complete to Shannon Sharp. He's going to pick up around 7 yards on the play. And that play epitomizes what John Elway does, and that is he gets the ball to the receivers so quickly. It's just bam, bam, and it is there. And it is very difficult to make any kind of play when he is firing like that.
Well, Terry Wooden is actually a pretty decent coverage there, but you're right, he separates himself by about 1.5 yards, and there's the football. That's his 53rd catch. That ties his career high, which he set last year.
3rd down and 2 from the gun. Long over the middle to Delpino. He stretches out. See where they give him. They're going to give him most of the stretch, it looks like.
I tell you what.
And he'll have the first down.
That showed a lot on the part of Delpino to know where he is and to sacrifice his body. I mean, he really took a shot there at the end. But he had the peace of mind to stretch the ball forward and get the first down. You're right, Charlie. They did give him most of that stretch.
The ball at the 37-yard line. Here's another look.
Take a look at the shot he takes. Pow, right in the ribs. But he gets that left hand forward. You're right. Very generous with the spot.
And a first down for Denver. Arthur Marshall?
That's
Kevin Murphy. Arthur Marshall that had the football, and it was Kevin Murphy who nailed it.
Well, this is the point that Eugene Robinson made yesterday to us. He said they want to throw underneath and make these guys pay the price for making the catch. Force John Elway to take the long drives and see if they can get a turnover. Murphy, face mask to face. Yikes.
The screen left side to Bernstein, and once he gets up ahead of Steve, he rolls for almost 20 yards on the play. He's making 18 eventually. Rod Stevens again on the tackle.
Charlie, you're absolutely right. When Rod Bernstein is effective, it's when he gets his shoulders square, as the coaches say, and he's north-south. There it is, and there's that head of steam. He's no fun to tackle right there, as Eugene Robinson found out. That shows a lot on the part of John Elway. How many times have you seen the ball pop loose and you see a quarterback not pay attention to the play or carry out some bogus fake to the left side that doesn't mean anything? That's a heads-up play by number 7. Take a look underneath. Bernstein, that's a bad handoff by John. Maybe that was the reason. Bernstein can't recover it. The ball pops out to the right of your screen. There's number 7, willing to give up his body to get the ball back. It's a play by the Stanford Giants.
Second down and 10. 25 seconds and counting. Time remaining. First quarter, no score. And we have jumping from both sides. And Tony goes 3 wide receivers. Antonio Evans, Tyrone Rogers, and Michael McCrary are rushing for Seattle. And Elway is going to be sacked. Not through to it. Tagaloa got him. Stepping off, and man is kind of loosened up. John shadowed the bench. They worked on him, and he limped off. But when he came back out, just a few seconds before we came out of the commercial break, he was not looking. He got there. He goes deep. It is unbelievable. Shannon Sharp. Unbelievable. The wounded Warrior going 50 yards for the first touchdown of the ball.
Seattle does the right thing. They come with the blitz. David Brandon, nobody touches him, and he comes right over the top of Elway. Look at the gun. He just flicks it to Sharp 50 yards downfield. You know what? Forgive my hyperbole, but that's the only quarterback in the league that could have done that. With the WWF flex, there's Sterling Sharp. Got to work on those guns, partner.
That's Shannon. The other brother.
Excuse me, you're right. It's a fraternal thing. A fraternal thing.
Shannon, when you look at the tape, you're going to say, you know what he's going to say, the extra point? He said, to be perfectly honest with you, because that's what he said to us yesterday.
After all the conversation we had with him, 50-yard touchdown. Broncos up by 7.
On the phone with his brother. Sterling had, what, 7 receptions today for Green Bay? Is that correct? And has 76. So he had 76 on the year.
Oh, he's never going to catch his brother. You know that. In fact, that's probably what I must have been thinking about when I said Sterling instead of Shannon. He's very happy with me after the long conversation we had yesterday.
Shannon, though, on the year now has 54 receptions, and he just scored his 4th touchdown. Michael Bates is the return man. He's out to around the 22 or the 23-yard line, where Lilo Lang makes the stop. Now remember, John Elway was injured, came limping off. That was the last play of the first quarter. As the reason he could come right back in. But when he limped out, when he came out, he wasn't limping. And look at this.
Redundant to say that great players make great plays, but that's the case right there. Not only does he come up and avoid the sacks, but throws a 50-yarder right on the money to Sharp.
That is the 19th touchdown pass for John Elway. He, by the way, has 7 interceptions, 1 in this ball game, as Seattle goes from their 22-yard line trailing for the first time. Chris Warren is the ball carrier as we go to New York for an update. Tie in Kansas City, and the fact that the Raiders, this will be a false start against the offensive line of Seattle. With the ball back at the 17-yard line. And for the shotgun, a terrible snap. Meyer finally picks it up, scrambles, and all of a screw-a-yard play.
Well, the point that you made earlier, Charlie, was apropos. Ray Donaldson, the snap was just awful. It's out to the left, and he was lucky just to get it up. Give the offensive line credit for keeping people out that enabled Meyer to take his time to get the ball and finally pick it up. And you're right, it did look like something on the schoolyard. And Fletcher gets a cheap sack.
No, they're not going to call it a sack. They're going to call it an aborted play.
Ah, well then, however, whatever the terminology is, it applies. That was ugly.
It is third down. Meyer just kind of dumps this one over to John L. Williams across the 20, close to the original line of scrimmage. Lilo Lang and Mike Crow making the tackle.
This is just putting too much pressure, though, on the Seattle defense. They have to do something instead of go 3 and out, and I realize that this is a youngster and you don't want to take too many chances with him, but Seattle's got to open it up a little bit, or else they run the risk of Elway getting hot and just blowing him out of the building.
It'll be 4th down and 10 at the 22-yard line, so Rick Tootin will be kicking. And Glenn Milburn from Stanford, the rookie taken in the 2nd round of the draft, is the return man. This one hangs high. A fair catch is called and taken at the 35-yard line. 43 yards on the kick. We've got a timeout. We'll be back in a moment. Denver by 7. 3-yard touchdown pass from John Elway to Shannon Sharp. Sharp now 2 receptions for a total of 58 yards and the touchdown in the ballgame. Denver first down from their own 36. And here is Rod Bernstein, and he is out near the 40-yard line. They'll mark it, I think, at the 39. So we'll give him 3, and it will be 2nd down and 7.
Key to the defense for the Seattle Seahawks is Cortez Kennedy, Defensive Player of the Year. Spun around there by Melander, tries to come back into the play. Helps out a little bit. He's somebody that hasn't really put up the numbers this year that he did last year, and he commented on the fact that maybe he wasn't playing up to snuff, up to Cortez Kennedy standards, but now in the last 2 games, he's had 10 tackles in each of those 2 games.
Here's Robert Delfino. He's got the first down at the 50-yard line. Let's go back for a moment to Cortez Kennedy. When we asked Wade Phillips, what are you going to do about Cortez Kennedy? He said, well, I'm going to put 2 men on him. And we said, why? And he said, because I can't put 3. Because I'd come up too short.
Well, I mentioned the fact that he had said he wasn't playing up to snuff. These are his words. He said, the first 9 games I was playing like average is what he said. Now I need to pick it up. And interestingly enough, he has picked it up over the last couple of games, but Denver's been doing a good job thus far of keeping him out of the mix.
First down at the 50-yard line. Denver leads by a score of 7-0 over the middle. Pass is complete. This will be a first down to Vance Johnson. He picks up 11 yards on the play to the 39.
And he took quite a whack from Hunter, but he was able to hold on. This is a man that, remember that they traded him to Minnesota early in the preseason. Minnesota let him go, and he came back to Denver for what is, in his words, chicken feed. Tough catch right here. He takes the shot and holds on.
Was that deflected just a bit?
No,
it looks like it was, doesn't it?
You would appreciate this. It's the baseball version of the snow cone.
Yeah.
No ball's just sticking out.
And here is Bernstein to the right side. And he's going to lean across the 35. There's a fumble and a scramble for it at the bottom. Seattle says they have it. The officials will try and dig it out. And can you imagine what goes on at the bottom of that pile? There's a lot of scratching and grabbing and tugging and pulling.
No decision's been made yet. Now it is. Good job. He cuts back to the inside. Now let's see. Eugene Robinson, is he the one that forces the fumble? Right there. No, it's Wooden that gets in the right just before he goes down. Wooden strips the ball away from him, and it appears that was Dwayne Harper with the recovery. Great job by Terry Wooden. Somebody the Rusty Tillman defensive coordinator said is a very unsung player on that defense, has been playing some outstanding football.
So the turnovers even up at 1 apiece, and Seattle has the ball at their own 34-yard line, first down. That's a blown penalty. We have a flag. Chris Warren never looked back. Darrell, 40-yard line.
26th takeaway of the season by the Seattle Seahawks, which is 27th. That is second best in the National Football League behind Buffalo. And look at the difference between last year and this year. That certainly can help explain why, as opposed to last year, they're 2-14. In this Burger campaign, they're 5-5.
Third down and 4. And this one is knocked away. And that means that the kicking team will come in. Garnett is the man who knocked it down. And so Seattle unable to capitalize on the fumble recovery. They'll be punting.
I remember last year talking to Eugene Robinson during that miserable campaign. He said that this was one of the tough times was that you'd sit on the bench, just sit down long enough to get your drink, and we got to go back on the field. That's exactly what's happened to him at this point. Seattle's unable to get anything going offensively.
Milburn is the return man. And he's on a step away from this, and he misjudged. He wanted to take it on the run. It's going to be down inside the 5-yard line at the 1-yard line. No, it slides into the end zone.
It's a bad play by him.
It's going to be a touchback. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line.
How unfortunate. His feet did slide into the end zone. Bad play on the part of Milburn, and then fortunately for him, a bad play on the part of Brandon. Watch at the end. All he has to do here, is keep the ball in the field of play. You don't have to down it. Just keep it in the field of play and get your body out of the way. As soon as he catches it and his feet slide over the line, that's a touchback. Good call by the official.
So we'll bring it out to the 20-yard line to a cascade of boos. With 9:51 left to go.
That's twice now David Brandon has had an opportunity for big plays. Remember, Charlie, he was the guy that missed the sack on John Elway earlier on the blitz. And he could have pinned him inside the 5 there, but his feet slipped over the goal line.
The play has been ruled a touchback as a player from the kicking team.
Don't let him boo you, Dick. Make the statement.
Trump man doesn't agree with him.
Just say it, Dick. This is like a Sunday school teacher waiting for quiet.
The ball
He ought to throw the flag. It's 5 yards because I couldn't get the explanation. There it is. We'll be back in a moment. A good call by the official. You've got to leave the ball in the field of play. If you have contact with the ball and your feet go in the end zone, just like being out of bounds, it's a touchback automatic. Elway, little play action, swing right side to Rod Bernstein. He's going to pick up about 3 on the play. Dwayne Harper is going to upend him at that spot. It'll be second down.
Now watch when the feet go over the line. Even Brandon understands the rule. See? Take a look at the end. Now Brandon, he catches the ball. Now his feet will slide over. Now watch at the last minute. He goes, no, let the ball go. Okay, now it's too late, man. Even David Brandon knew that he goofed up. That's why he's disappointed. So again, you're right, Charlie. The official right on top of it.
That was a King's X. Elway, a little swing right side. This is Milburn. A little head fake, and then he goes out of bounds. And Dwayne Harper had picked him up for Seattle.
Got to give a lot of credit to the Seattle defense. We keep mentioning the fact that the offense has not generated everything, but once again, they come up in a difficult 3rd and 5 situation. Seattle minus their 2 best pass rushers, a lot of injuries in the secondary. They're hanging in there. A lot of credit to that man right there, Rusty Tillman, along with Tom Catlin in charge of the defense. Very animated defensive coordinator.
Denver has had one big play, the 50-yard touchdown pass to Shannon Sharp, and that's been it. This one is over the middle. Nice move by Robert Delfino. Still, boy, he's got the first down. Robert Blackman finally stopped him, but Delfino, a big play, converting on 3rd down and 4.
Take a look after he catches the ball. It's the exact same move. Take a look at this, Charlie. This is interesting. Watch number 39. You're right. He does make a nice move, but it's the exact same move. Now watch the fake. Here it is. Okay, there's that one fake. Okay, here's the same fake. Now watch. Now here's the same fake. Now here it is again. More. The same fake. That's great. He does the exact same fake 3 straight times. But hey, 16 yards of first down. That's all that matters. Substance over style, I always say.
Well, if it works, keep going back to it.
Or as Bum Phillips said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Patrick Hunter. With the Seahawks shaken up on the play, he's being administered to. Clock is stopped now with 8.
Just give that to
When you figure you got Seattle, that's Bonanza Country. You got Denver, that's Bonanza Country.
Yeah, this is being broadcast to Montana and the Dakotas. Sure.
Yes. And we've got flags.
Well, Kirk Stratford now at right tackle. That means that Don Maggs has gone out of the game. Evidently, he struggled a little bit from the right side.
Elway fires to Bernstein, and he is dropped at the 45-yard line. Kevin Murphy and Rod Stevens make the tackle. He's going to pick up 7 yards on the play, and we're going to have another injury timeout, stopping the clock at the 8:02 mark.
Come on. I mean, come on. Ask the players.
They do a thing with numbers, but they never seem to ask the players.
Yeah, I was going to say, of the 1,260 players in the National Football League, 1,259 of them would tell you that AstroTurf is the bane of their existence.
And while we have Vance being administered to, we'll step aside for a moment. We'll be back. Machine here, of course, that will be the X-rays will be taken, and as soon as we have a report, we'll pass it on. Here are the standings. In a situation with the Raiders losing today at Cincinnati, the points up the back with Denver 6-4, Seattle 5-5, and Kansas City playing Buffalo and leading them. Is that you have a division, and you've got a flag here, but you've got a division that everybody has an opportunity now, and you're coming to the last 6 games. That's an ineligible player downfield. You have a situation where anybody can now, can make a move here and position themselves for the playoffs.
Well, clearly, coming into this game, Denver was a big favorite, but as you pointed out, even as poorly as Seattle's offense is playing, one play is really the difference in this ball game right now, and that's a great play by Elway to get the 50-yard touchdown. If Seattle were somehow to pull this out today and San Diego could win on Monday night and Buffalo beats Kansas City, we could be looking at a league that would be only 2 games difference from 1st to 5th.
And another thing to keep in mind with the Denver Broncos is that they have defeated the Jets, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, and within the AFC, their record is 6-2. So if they get into a wild card situation, where you come straight out, here's the shot. As Elway could not scramble away from the rookie from Valdosta State, Antonio Edwards. What this all means is that everybody has a shot at the playoffs.
And what this means right here is not only is the defense keeping Seattle's team in the game, but the defense is keeping the crowd in the game, and the crowd is crucial for the Seattle Seahawks, especially when they're at home.
So Tom Ruin will be kicking. It is 4th down and 11. Just under 7.5 minutes left to go first half. Here comes pressure right up the middle. He gets it off. Good kick under that kind of pressure. Fair catch is called for and taken by Kelvin Martin. And so Seattle, again deep in their own territory, they have not had any kind of field position.
Well, they haven't had any kind of field position, but compared to last year, they're formidable. They're practically the 49ers. Take a look at last year, 8.7 points per game. That was the worst in NFL history. They set a record for futility, but now with this offense, a couple of new wrinkles, and a new quarterback in Rick Meyer, they've nearly doubled their point output and nearly 60 yards more in total offense per game.
From their own 14-yard line, Meyer rolls out, sets. Nice little touch pass is right there to Farrell Edmund. He's got the first down. Mike Kroll makes the tackle along with Darrell Hall.
Mentioned the fact that he was a 2-time Pro Bowler when he was with the Miami Dolphins, but he hasn't been much of a pass catcher here with the Seattle Seahawks. You mentioned his nickname, Tree, the ideal dimensions for a tight end. He's just a hair over 6'6", weighs about 252 pounds. You would think that he would be a tremendous target underneath for Rick Meyer, but they throw predominantly to the backs and downfield to Brian Blades, but there's a man that quarterbacks can like when they see him downfield.
Denver leading 7-0. And here is Chris Warren. He pops it right up the middle, first down. Back-to-back first downs for the Seahawks. Steve Atwater stops him after a gain of 17. First really breath of fresh air for the Seattle offense.
And here's something you won't see very often. Take a look at the head of steam that Chris Warren has, and he runs right over the top of Steve Atwater. Here's that collision. Pow! And Atwater's lucky just to hold on to that leg. That's no fun when you're in the secondary to see 220 pounds and 4'5" getting a full head of steam coming into your face.
And this time Chris Warren is shut down at the line of scrimmage. May lose about half a step on the play. Mike Kroll makes the tackle.
Mike Kroll, another member of the defense that Wade Phillips mentioned, is not really getting his due. Charlie, in his first 11 or 12 games as a rookie, he had 10 sacks. And the Broncos and everybody else felt like that maybe they had another Lawrence Taylor. Since that time, now in his third season in some 26 games, he's only had 5 sacks during that period of time. But that doesn't necessarily measure how well you're playing the football game. There's more to it than just sacking the quarterback.
Second down. Down the line of scrimmage, and then will fall forward for 3 or 4 yards on the play. Charles Dimmery stops him, and it's going to be 3rd down and 5.
Offensive line that asserted itself in the second half against the Pittsburgh Steelers now seems to be creating some holes for Warren. Cuts left, now cuts back inside. That was ran through a couple of broken tackles, a little disappointed with himself. Felt like he should have broken through that last one. Averaging a little more than 4 yards a carry now. Michael Bates, the speedster, is in as a wide receiver. But here's the pitch to Warren. On what you would consider across the National League to be a passing down, 3rd down and 5 at your 47-yard line. The Seahawks elect to stay on the ground, very conservative. And they do not pick up the first down. They'll be kicking. I'm a bit surprised at that call. I am, and I'm not. And this is why, Charlie. Interesting, when we talked with Wade Phillips last night, he said, if this is a high-scoring game, we're going to win hands down. He said, if it's a close-scoring game, then Seattle has a chance. And really, in effect, that's kind of what they're doing. They didn't want to make a mistake here at midfield. They trust Rick Tootin to put them in pretty good position. They're going to play it close.
Moves up under center. It is 4th down and 3. Now they're going to shift back out of it.
That's why
they'll take a delay. They were trying to get an encroachment penalty. They'll take the delay, but that's not going to affect them. It was 4th down and about 3.5 to go. They were trying to draw Denver's defense offsides to make contact against that offensive line. Now, that is an offensive line for Seattle that has been together the whole season.
5 yards, still 4th down.
I was about to say, Charlie, the reason I wasn't as animated on that is I knew that Rick Tootin wasn't going to take a snap.
No, well, they were trying to trick him. And it didn't work.
No, it didn't.
But just think, if he does take a snap, we've got an exclusive. Fair catch is taken by Glenn Milburn. And so the Denver Broncos will set up shop at their 18-yard line. The report on Vance Johnson is a dislocated ankle.
That's unfortunate because he has been playing so well since he got back. I mean, really playing some good football.
3:53, that is the time remaining. Second quarter, we're in the Kingdom. And the Denver Broncos, second quarter, is Robert Delfino. And he is going to struggle for a couple of yards. Everything was shut off to the right side, but he came back to fall forward for 2 to the 20. It'll be 2nd down and 8 where Joe Nash and Rod Stevens finally stopped him.
Saw the smile on the face of Joe Nash. Boy, has he been on the block a long time. He and Jeff Bryant, man, that left side of the defense, at 66 years of age and 24 years of NFL experience between the two of them. They have been around the block, but as Tom Flory said yesterday, he does play his butt off. That's why he's still here.
A very savvy crowd in Seattle as Rod Bernstein carries out across the 25-yard line. You notice they'll stay quiet, and then with the possibility that the opposing quarterback, in this case John Elway, might be calling an audible or to take him away from their count, then the crowd noise will come up.
Now here's a
now they'll relax here and save their voices.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah, they're smart.
Yeah, that whole 12th man thing, that's not a myth. I mean, they
reminds
really
me of the South Stands at Mile High Stadium.
Well, I came here for 10 years as a player. I can attest to it. It makes a difference.
3rd down and 2. Johnson, the intended receiver. James Jefferson was there for Seattle. It'll be 4th down.
And James Jefferson was there in the place of Carlton Gray, their great nickelback who has been hurt. Look at Tua Tagovailoa. You know, for a team that was not supposed to get much of a pass rush, the Seahawks are really pouring it on.
And one of the things the Seahawks told us about, when John Elway starts to scramble, Denver does something different than anybody else. Usually the receivers will come back there. His receivers go deep. And here is the kick. And Martin will let it bounce. And it comes back into the field of play and will be down at that point by Jeff Robinson. We have 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
That call, because it goes down to the 2-minute warning. They've got plenty of time.
And so now,
And they've all been incompletions, and he's yet to throw a ball over 20 yards. And Charlie, I just don't think that they can beat Denver solely with their running game.
2nd down and 6 from the shotgun. Myers stands in, throws, and it is incomplete. Almost intercepted. Kelvin Martin, the intended receiver. There was an underneath receiver, Paul Green, who was about 5 yards shy of the intended receiver, who might have had a chance at it. Darrell Hall had the defensive coverage. Jeff Blackshear is in for Bill Hitchcock in the offensive line for Seattle. We mentioned that they have had a very healthy offensive line. We'll try and get a report on an injury possibility to Bill Hitchcock. 3rd down and 5. Incomplete. John L. Williams, and he has sure hands. He has led Seattle in receiving for 3 of the last 5 years. He has 41 receptions coming into this ball game, but this one got away.
You saw his eyes wander up. He's going to look up for the Mitsubishi screen to see whether or not he should have had that. Yeah, the ball's a little bit high, but certainly that's catchable. And as you mentioned, John L. Williams, sure hands coming out of the backfield. He knows he should have had it.
So Rick Tootin will be kicking. Glenn Milburn is the return man.
Once again, 3 and out.
Fair catch.
Oh, bad decision.
15 yards in front of him before he could find a blue jersey.
Well, the idea here, of course, is that they have such confidence in their offense, they don't want to take the time off like another 8 to 10 seconds by having a return. But boy, he had that was a bad decision on the part of Milburn. He certainly had a lot of room. I should say that's, as I say, that's a preconceived idea. It's not Milburn. They're telling him right there to fair catch. But boy,
he knows going out that's what he's supposed to do. The ball at the 19-yard line. Denver with a 1st down.
But he'd have had a 1st down. He'd have had at least 10 on the return.
Oh, easy. Elway from the shotgun. 4 wide receivers. This is Sullivan. 1:44 left in the half. 6 left to go at the line of scrimmage. Seattle told us yesterday when we talked with him, you've got to get pressure on Elway right up the middle. You've got to get in his face. They've been very effective at this.
They really have. They've been making him hurry. He's throwing a little bit sooner than he wants to, and right here in the middle you can see, look at Cortez Kennedy pushing 2 of the Broncos back and still getting an arm up to pat the ball down. Wow.
2nd down and 2. Elway has pressure in front.
And they get a timeout here. Take a look at Cortez Kennedy in the middle. Look at the number of people that he draws. He draws 2 people here. That means that everybody else is man for man, and that enables them to get the sack. And that's what he points out.
Gotcha.
That's exactly right.
We have a timeout. We'll step aside for a moment.
On Elway, we keep coming back to the same thing. One play. That's all it is. This first half has been that one play.
The 50-yard touchdown pass to Shannon Sharp. That was after he came limping out at the last play of the first quarter and then came back out.
And I would say you take away that one play, Charlie, we made a big deal at the top of the show over his numbers. His numbers in the first half have not been that great.
When we talked with him yesterday, I've never seen him in the time that I've covered John Elway as relaxed and as happy and as enjoying the game of football as he is now. He didn't want to leave. And before you couldn't get him, he was in, he was out. See him in his locker. He said to him, visit with us for about 30 minutes. We had to find us a job. We got to talk to this other player. Will you get out of here? Here's the kick.
Oh, yeah. What a
Martin goes all the way back to the 25-yard line. And he'll return near the 40. Oh, a kick of 59 yards by Tom Ruhe.
big kick by Ruhe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a situation there where you figure he kicks at 40, they return at 5, and they're about at midfield. Instead, he hammers that near 60-yarder, and instead of having an extra 10 or 15 yards of field position, Seattle now has to start from their own 39.
1 minute and 21 seconds. Time remaining. Seattle with one timeout left. Denver has 3. Denver has a 7-0 lead. Now Denver can play a little with the clock here too. They could get another opportunity if they'd like. Dangerous from the shotgun, kind of an end-over-end snap. Myers scrambles out. And he is going to pick up the first down and go out of bounds. Now this is really his strength. He is a running quarterback. That's what he did at Notre Dame. But he can't do that often in the National Football League or he'll get killed.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Last week when you and I were in New York, remember we were talking with Bruce Conza, and for whatever reason, Rick Myers' name came up. Remember that?
Yes.
And he said, well, you know what? I like this kid, but he's got to stop doing that. Or his word was, if he keeps running like that, he's going to get squashed.
Right.
Remember that?
That's right.
He said squashed.
He picks up 12 yards on the scramble and the first down. 49-yard line of Denver. And a touch pattern far side of Paul Green. The receivers for the Seahawks like the way that he throws. He has a very catchable ball. And it gets there reasonably in a hurry. Not, of course, like Elway's does, but nobody gets there like Elway. Dimry was there for Denver. And it'll be second down at the 46-yard line.
Coming into this game, Charlie, you know, it's not as if the Denver pass defense has been tremendous. I mean, this is an opportunity that Meyer can take advantage of some problems in the secondary. We mentioned Dennis Smith is out.
From the shotgun, he goes deep. And Doug Thomas, the intended receiver, Charles Dimry, picked him up.
And that's good coverage on the part of Dimry. He got ahead of him and he looked back, and that's what a good cornerback does. Stride for stride. Take a look at what number 29 does. Looks back for the ball. Sees his eyes, looks back. Okay, I'm looking for the ball. No way you can call interference. Even though at the last, watch the right hand as he pulls him down there. Look at the right hand, catches his arm. Nope, not going to catch with that hand. No, can't call interference. Heads up play by the veteran Dimry.
Third down and 7.
He has done a good job this year. A lot of people, and I don't know if you care for me to want to remind people, he was the cornerback for Atlanta the day that Jerry Rice tied the record for 5 touchdowns.
Flag is down, pass is incomplete. And it's just about the line of scrimmage. Maybe a little past the line of scrimmage. Simon Fletcher brings him back. And it will be fourth down, and the 12th man, the fans, here's the kingdom.
There's no debate. There's no debate.
You don't give Elway that kind of field position if you fail. Bottom line.
And Tom Flores made an interesting point to us, Charlie, when we had a Seattle game earlier in the season. We asked about the improvement of the team, and he said, defensively, we're ready for the playoffs. Special teams-wise, we're good enough to play in the playoffs. Offensively, we're not. And so your point is absolutely right. If they fail here and give Denver this field position with John Elway, forget it.
You go bang, 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 and has a quick 7. Trying to hang it high. Has a man down. And it will be out in the neighborhood of the 10 or 11-yard line. So that means locker room at halftime.
Well, I dare say this has not exactly been a
Score of 7-0, and let's go to New York City and Jim Lambert. Gentlemen?
This guy's destined to play some football.
From the 4 to the 10, 15, 20. Can't find that opening, and then he's smothered on the far sideline. Rick Meyer in the first half completed 5 of 14 for 39 yards.
You know, I wonder, interesting point, Charlie. You talk about being conservative with the kid and doing certain things, but at the same time, I wonder if it undermines his confidence very subtly to say that there are certain things we can't do with you because you're young. Maybe that's a subjective point, but I often wonder if that's something that might affect him a little bit.
That's a good point. Seattle from their own 24-yard line as we open up the second half. Play action fake. And he goes deep into double coverage, and it is incomplete. Ryan Blades, the intended receiver. Fletcher knocks it away, and perhaps that's the reason that we haven't seen him throw deep, because the Broncos were waiting for him with 2 men.
The young quarterback has to look off the receiver, and when I talked with Steve Atwater, he said when he gets in trouble, this is who he goes to, is number 89. But take a look at Simon Fletcher. No respect whatsoever for John L. Williams coming out of the backfield. He gets back into the passing lanes and makes a nice play.
So it is second down and 10 at the 24-yard line. Let's go! Around the corner, a little stiff arm, and he is going to go out near the 35-yard line. The mark should give him the first down. Tyrone Braxton was chasing it.
Warren known as a power runner, but he gets to the outside and shows some pretty good speed. The Broncos lost containment because you saw Mike Kroll, number 51, on the blitz on the inside. There's nobody to the outside, and that enables Warren to get the first down.
First down, 34-yard line. To the 42-yard line as he matches his uniform number. Darrell Hall with the tackle. That's a pickup of a quick 8. It'll be second down and 2.
We keep talking about the youth of Rick Meyer. It's hard to believe that just 4 years ago, this was the man at Goshen, Indiana. Is that where it is?
Town of 23,000. He led them to the Indiana High School State Championship. This was in the Hoosier Dome.
Well, I guess 5 years ago.
Yeah. But he, by the way, he was the only kid off of that Bronco to receive a college scholarship over the state championship team. So talk about leading him. I mean, he really did lead him to the champion. And here is Warren. They've given the mark to the 30, to the 45. He should have the first down. Dan Williams makes the tackle. While we mentioned the high school championship in the Hoosier Dome, here in the Kingdom. The Kingdom. That's next weekend. The high school championship will all be settled right here. Great high school football in this part of the country.
You mentioned that Meyer was the only one to get a college scholarship off that team. I believe he's the only one that still doesn't shave, too. So
you may be right.
Kind of evens out.
But you know, when I was talking to him yesterday, you saw him out on the practice field, and when he came in, and we always talk about the step up from college ball to the pros. I mean, it's a little bit short, as you said, and how fast everything is moving. And he said, to tell you the truth, the big step up was from high school to Notre Dame. That was a major step. So this one is a little faster. I've got to see things more. I need some work. But the step I don't feel is as big as the one I took from high school to Notre Dame.
Well, Tom Flores made the point, too. He said that, that for a rookie quarterback saying, that's kind of a big deal for a rookie to be playing quarterback in big games. He says, wait a minute, how much bigger do they get at Notre Dame?
That's right. Seattle looking here for their first third down conversion of the ballgame. They are 0 for 8. And they have 3 tight ends in this set. Quarterback sneak? No, it's a handoff. Oh. The mark will decide it all. And this is a guesstimate as the linesmen come in from each side. Chris Warren carrying, Dave Wyman, and friends.
You're right. It's always such an inexact science. You're dependent upon guys that are running in at a distance to see something that's a good 15, 20 yards away. Oh, man. From this vantage point, it looks like they're short.
I was surprised they didn't go with the quarterback sneak. Meyer's an excellent, ball handler.
And you can see Flores right there, very, very disappointed. And I would dare say there's 13 minutes left. Is he going to go for it? No, I don't think he's going to go for it here.
They're going to kick. They have lost this a little bit. When we talked with Tom yesterday, also we asked him, would you rank Rick Meyer like from 0 to 100 where you want him? Where is he? And he said, "Oh, I know where he is, but I really don't want to. I don't want to tell you.
I'm not going to tell you.
I'm not going to tell you because you'll tell everybody."
Yeah.
I won't tell a soul.
Well,
he said, "Yes, you will."
The thing he's upset about right now is that his offensive line couldn't just move enough for Warren to get that extra. I mean, it wasn't even a yard. It was just a couple of inches.
So they are now 0 for 9. Third down opportunity.
Well, as we mentioned, Denver Bronco defense best in the National Football League on third down.
And Rick Tootin kicking. Another good one. Milburn calls for the fair catch and takes
at the 4? At the 4? You gotta be kidding.
You gotta stay away from that.
Unbelievable.
That is a rookie mistake. A 53-yard kick. We'll be back in a moment.
Getting chewed out a little bit, but you know, he's been around the block. Glenn Melville's a punt returner down at Stanford. I'll let that go.
Tootin's last 4 kicks have been inside the 20. Elway now from the end zone throws. It is incomplete. Delpino, the intended receiver, Rod Stevens, had the coverage. So it will be second down and 10. Here is a score in from Arrowhead Stadium with 11:18 left in the third. Joe Montana just threw a touchdown pass. That is his second touchdown pass of the ball game. Kansas City leads Buffalo 17-7.
I don't get it. Is the guy just magic? He shows up, they win. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. That's the way it is.
That's the way life is. Some have it, some don't. He has it, and he's got yours and mine, too.
He's got our quota.
That's right. Robert Delpino stopped by Kevin Murphy.
So when we were lined up in heaven to get that quota, they came and said Jones and Chris and said, back off. Here's Montana. Take that.
You're out of here. No twist. Oh, it's a chance for defense here.
Oh, man. There it is.
And how important that 12th man is. In this stadium, during the game, equally as important in Mile High Stadium. Third down and 9. Away from the end zone. Safety. He is sacked. We're looking to see if there's a fumble at the bottom. It's a safety. Did the ball come loose and that way recover it?
Well, look at Rusty Tillman trying to fire that. How many times do you see a coach do that? How many times do you see a coach play the role of cheerleader? The very thing he talked about was getting some pressure on Elway, and they just didn't know if they could do that with their 2 best pass rushers out. But take a look at this. They cave it in the middle. Cortez Kennedy just shoves the man down, jumps up. He's the one that creates it. You're right, the ball came loose. Oh, boy, I tell you what, that's impressive. Impressive, the left hand of Elway to keep that in, and Tillman's got to be excited with the way they did that.
Ever so close to a Seahawk touchdown. The fumble in the end zone, Elway then pulling it in.
And that man, Cortez Kennedy, just absolutely obliterated. They took a chance with 1 man over him, and they paid for it. He knocked the man down, jumps up, and as soon as he jumped up, Elway couldn't get it away. Take a look at the right of your screen, number 96, 1 man, and he goes, get out of the way, Brian Habib. Look at that vertical jump, and that forces him to come down, and that enables Stevens to get the safety. And right there, that was very fortunate because Kurt Scrafford does a nice job of pushing the ball underneath into Elway. Otherwise, you're right, that might have been a touchdown.
Would have been a touchdown. Now, we're in a free kick situation. That means that Denver kicks from their 20-yard line. Now, they can punt or kick off. Here they'll choose to punt. That's usually what everybody does.
Especially the way Ruin's been kicking today. That's certainly a good move.
CB team, same as on a kickoff, have to be 10 yards away. And here is Martin on the return, near the 45-yard line. We're going to step aside for a moment. The score is now.
That score 7-2.
All right, here's Rick Meyer rolling out to his left. Scrambling around the north for the sideline. He's going to be chased out of bounds. Near the line of scrimmage, Dave Wyman was in pursuit, and it will be second down and long. Now, the reason we say the 3 safeties is the Cleveland game here. There was a safety by Cleveland and also by Seattle.
Another weird score, too. The score ended up 22-5. I thought there might have been Canadian League or something. I got confused. Maybe there were rouges and stuff.
Maybe it is the fact that the Grey Cup is in Alberta. And is it Calgary, Alberta?
Calgary, I believe, yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
The cold wind from Canada is bringing down this.
Then that explains my hoser mentality.
Second down and 11, and we've got flag.
I should say here, Charlie, we've made a big production over the fact that Seattle defense has been so outstanding and the ineptitude of Rick Meyer. But let's give some credit here to the Denver defense. They've done a good job, particularly in the secondary, coming into this game. 28th in the league in pass defense, even with a healthy Dennis Smith. They've done a good job today.
False start. Offense number 64 prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
What One of the things that Steve Atwater told us about Rick Meyer, because he's a young quarterback, when we talked to him, he said he has a tendency to leave the pocket too soon. You can fake him out of the pocket a lot of time because he doesn't see the complete field yet. He only sees part of it. He doesn't know what's going on the other side all the time. And so when we can fake him, we'll try to get him outside because he is simply not as effective once he gets outside of the pocket, the exact opposite of John Elway. Stands in, throws full down. That is Brian Blade's first reception of the ball game. Third pass that has been thrown to him, and he tries to fire everybody up. He comes with 11:10 left to go in the third.
Well, not everybody else up, himself too. Take a look at this. Cuts to on the deep in route. Nice throw and good catch. He takes the shot in the middle, but Brian Blades is a tough guy. As you mentioned, 54 balls, and you have to wonder why they haven't been getting him the ball more up to this point.
Going to bring the change out for the measure.
You know, in this day and age of a lot of Edmonds, nice job of play-action fake by Meyer. Throws the secondary and able to tree to make the catch.
Ball just inside the 37-yard line of Denver. Denver leads it 7-2. John Elway with a touchdown pass at 50 yards. Shannon shot. Elway then tackled in the end zone for the safety. That's all the score. Going back underneath, pass is complete. Whistle sound. Chris Warren. And they'll give him the spot of the reception. Wrapped up immediately by Dave Wyman.
Meyer did a good thing there that he hasn't done so far in the first part of the game, and that is look to his secondary receiver. Every time thus far he's gone back and he's riveted his eyes at where he wanted to go. His protection was good that time. He wanted to go deep, and he goes underneath to Johnson for the short game. It shows his maturity. He's coming around.
Second down and 7. Blades the motion man. Going back inside and the count is long. Here it goes. 50-yard line. Good ball. First down. Jeffrey finally stops him a gain of 18.
Those who follow football closely remember Dwayne Thomas, the enigmatic one for the Dallas Cowboys. He had kind of a glide to him and a similar physique. He was 6'1", 220. Warren 6'2", 220. Look at the glide. Look how he shakes the tackles. 1, 2, 3. And here, he almost gets away from the last one as well.
And the reaction of head coach Tom Floyd. And it's a first down at the Denver 15-yard line. And here he is again. He's going to lean close to the 10. It'll be second down. Steve Atwater wrapped him up. Second down and 5.
Big time right here for a play-action play. They've been running the ball so effectively the last 2 plays. If they were to go play-action, that would really freeze the secondary coming up. This would be a good opportunity to go for 6 here.
Chris Warren is the remaining back. Intercepted. Denver has the ball. Edmonds, intended receiver Darrell Hall replacing the injured Dennis Smith, who's out on the trip. He's at home watching with that shoulder injury. And Hall has the interception, his first of the year.
Meyer really throws his ball just a little too hard and a little too soon. He's not quite out of the break. And, of course, great effort, as you mentioned, on the part of Hall to get that one hand underneath and get the interception. Once again, the inexperience of the quarterback. If he can just hang on a little bit and folds, he's not too happy about it, needless to say.
And mixed emotions here at the Kingdom because Darrell Hall played for the Huskies, University of Washington here at Seattle. Denver on the offense. Here is Rob Bernstein on the pitch as they start at the 8-yard line where the interception took place.
I dare say, Charlie, there is no mixed emotion. They're not happy about it. There might be 2 or 3 of his friends here that might say, way to go, Darrell, but I'd say the bulk of the rest of the 66K that are here say, no, no.
Second down and 4. Little bobble on the exchange across the country to New York for an update.
They have to become one of the favorites for the Super Bowl if he can stay healthy.
Away from the shotgun. Oh, you know what happened? John stepped back, saw the gray of the end zone, immediately threw it away, avoiding any possibility of another safety.
Now that's some veteran play here. You're absolutely right, Charlie. He's totally throwing this ball away.
Watch him,
and he's between the tight end. And he sees,
oh, there I am.
There's
we're out of here.
Tagovailoa. That's gone. We're not going to make it 7-4.
Back Elway!
So Tom Royan will be kicking. Kelvin Martin is the return man.
This has probably been the best offensive weapon for Denver today. Ruin, look at that average.
It's another
good kick.
Taken at the 43-yard line as a block. Flag is down at 35. First down at their own 35-yard line, and here is the pitch to Chris Warren. Warren hurdles his way out to the 44-yard line. Steve Atwater makes the tackle. He'll pick up 8 yards on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 2.
And you have to wonder, the front four of Denver might be getting a little fatigued at this point. They've been on the field a lot. They're used to, of course, Denver scoring a lot of points and them spending a lot of time on the bench. But what Seattle has done, of course, is now with Elway 3 and out, puts the pressure on the defense for Denver.
2nd down and 2. They spotted the ball at the 43-yard line. And Warren again, still going. Ball comes loose. It is picked up by Denver. That is Dwayne Wyman. Now, he did something very smart. He did not try and fall on it and go sliding out of bounds. He made sure that he had the ball. He stopped and he picked it up.
And don't forget Dave Wyman, an ex-Seahawk. It has to be especially sweet for him. At the point of attack, look at, knock down the white shirts, runs into his own man. Now watch Steve Atwater come up and strip the ball away from Warren. And you're right, Wyman heads up here, slows down so he doesn't slide out of bounds, picks the ball up gingerly, and now it's Denver ball at the 45.
And there is Dave Wyman.
Played some pretty good football at middle linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks here.
And he also played some pretty good football for Stanford.
Yes, he did.
He'll start for the 45. Here is Bernstein, the right back to the line of scrimmage. That's it.
That's Cortez Kennedy knifing through to make the play. You know, 6'1" and about 300 pounds. You don't think of him as being quick or fast, but there he runs down Bernstein from behind for a loss of 1. Number 96 with the arm over, beating 2 guys once again, falling down to get number 33. You know, he's frustrated by that. He says, come on, just single block. And he said, hey, man, that's the price for being great. You're going to have to wade through 2 forever.
2nd down and 11. A loss of a yard. Pump fake. Pass incomplete. Kimbrough, the intended receiver. We've got a flag on the play now. Now, Vance Johnson not in the ballgame. He is injured earlier today. The report that we had for you, a dislocated ankle. So he does not have Vance Johnson to go to. He may not have Vance Johnson to go to the rest of the season. That injury could take him out of the rest of the year for the Denver Broncos. And that will be a big loss to the offense and a big loss to John Elway.
Pat Bowlen has to be a little bit concerned right now, and this would be an absolutely huge stand for the Seattle Seahawks if they can force him to punt.
3rd down and 10. It is incomplete. It will be 4th down. How many times in the last decade have you seen the Denver Broncos with a 1st down starting a drive at their opponent's 45-yard line and come up 4th down and 11?
This is one of the few times, though, Charlie, you mentioned how astute the crowd is. This is where the crowd should really be loud. They don't realize how big this is, because what a turning point that could have been. All they have to do is get about 10, 12 yards, and they're in Jason Elam's field goal range, which would have forced Seattle to score twice. Now, as it is, a touchdown by Seattle, they can take the lead.
They'll take the delay. 5 minutes left to go. We're in the 3rd quarter in the Kingdom, and that went in.
No, I'm glad you did, because I want somebody to chew you out for being polysyllabic for a change.
Lots of time. Pass is incomplete as he overthrows Kelvin Martin. Now, next week we have, on Sunday, another exciting doubleheader. Second down and 10. And here is Chris Warren. A couple of yards. Dave Wyman, who recovered the fumble, along with Greg Cragen, the nose tackle from Utah State, make the stop. And it will be third down and 8.
Well, the crowd that was so vociferous, speaking of new words.
Oh, here we go. Bring out your dictionary.
Now very much needs to get involved in this for Seattle to get a first down and at least get themselves out of this exchange of punts mentality, which has really existed throughout the whole game.
Chris Warren has rushed for 95 yards in the ballgame. Pressure from the backside, passes away incomplete. Blades a little behind him, reaching back for it, and then was hit by Steve Atwater. It will be fourth down.
Meyer's accuracy just has not been there. Blades with a good route on Frank Robinson, cuts to the inside. He knows that Steve Atwater is there. If he's now that's too hard. That's a tough catch. On top of that, you've got 6'3", 217 bearing down on you and hammering you from the backside.
That is not a catchable ball. Rick Meyer has completed only 8 of 21 and 68 yards passing. And again, Chris Warren has rushed for 95 for Seattle. Here's the kick. And Milton. And this time he does not scoop up for the fair catch. And he was in a position where he should have. Michael Bates was right on.
Michael Bates, the bronze medalist, as you mentioned, the 200 meters. What an outstanding cover guy. So many times you get these track guys that aren't used to having collisions, and they're not tough guys. But take a look at number 81. Runs his man right into Glenn Milburn, and that's what makes the tackle.
Michael Bates has been one of the big surprises for the Seattle Seahawks. Exactly what you were talking about. They knew his speed. They said, Tom Flory said, we didn't realize how tough this man really was, and he is.
Well, he just ran Ronnie Bradford right into Glenn Milburn. Had a little bit of it appears here, just a little bit of a sprained ankle. He's shaken up. You know, he didn't play in '92 after being drafted in the 6th round. He wanted to capitalize on his Olympic fame and run track over in Europe. And when he came back, we were informed by the public relations man Gary Wright it was Tom Flory's pick all the way because he absolutely adored that speed.
John Elway from the shotgun, little swing near side, and this is Robert Delpino down the sideline, and he's going to pick up the first down as he goes from the 34 out to the 45-yard line. Patrick Hunter with the stop, and it's a first down.
Safe conservative, short pass to Delpino, and he does the rest. Gets it out in the flat. Here he heads upfield, breaks one tackle, then lowers his shoulder, and that's how he gets the first down. Running right through Hunter.
3 minutes, 50 seconds and counting, third quarter. Here's Derek Russell down the sideline, back-to-back first downs. All of a sudden, Elway now starting to pick apart the Seattle Seahawks. Calvin Murphy, the defender for Seattle, and this is the first time in the ballgame that he has had this luxury.
Oh, we also talked about the fatigue possibly of the Denver defense. I mean, Seattle's defense has spent practically the whole game out there on the field, so that certainly has to be a consideration.
And Robert Blackman make the tackle, a gain of 14 yards on the play.
You know how sometimes the mass doesn't and the speed doesn't necessarily equate? Robert Delpino's only 6 feet tall, 205 pounds. Look at the power that he exhibits in running over Eugene Robinson there in the secondary.
First down, 27-yard line. Elway, he's throwing this one away. He looked at that coverage. He reads so well. He sees downfield, and he knew there wasn't anything there, and there was no sense of even fooling with it, so he throws it away.
6'1", 305 pounds. Well, let's see the vertical leap. Here it comes. Oh, maybe not.
That looked like my vertical leap.
I think you could slide, what, 4 or 5 sheets of paper into that bad boy.
Second down and 10. Seattle, 27-yard line. Denver leads 7-2. Here's the draw to Delpino. He's going to struggle inside the 25. It'll be third down. And you look to see if Denver, if they do not pick up the first down here, will go with a field goal attempt. Jason Elam, that Todd was talking about, has hit 16 or 20 this year. He has hit from 53 and 54 yards. Both of those were at Mile High Stadium. Elway throws right side, first down. Derek Russell with a sliding reception. Now we're seeing vintage Elway on this drive. And this is really the first time that we've seen him just cut a defense apart.
And he was going that way all the way. Out route, really not that bad at coverage, but he puts it where there's absolutely no way Jefferson can get to it. Rusty Tillman, oh nuts, well what are you going to do? He's got a gun for him, he played out a little too far, and the guy bit it.
14-yard line, first down. Little play action, fake, punt fake, throws it away. Yeah, couple rows up. Not a bad catch. But you are an ineligible receiver.
And not bad coverage there by Dwayne Harper. He had Tillman on the slant and go, and he didn't buy it for a minute. Heads up play there by number 29.
The booze, of course, because you throw the football back. It's not like in baseball where you keep it. You throw it back. You savor the moment, and then you throw it back. Second and 10, 14-yard line. Bernstein, nothing there. Good defensive play. Very good. Now remember, everybody that we talked to for the Seattle defense, from Tom Flores all the way down, Tom Callens, who has been playing, who has not got the publicity, who has been a really solid man. And they mentioned Terry Wood, and they said, you know, he makes the plays, you look at the film, he's there, he makes the plays, he does it again.
And that was a big play there because they came with the blitz, and he cuts to the outside, and if Bernstein is able to get past Wood, he might score because there's no run support. Great up the field tackle by Wood.
Third down and 9, 13-yard line. This one is done to the near side, a little stiff arm by Russell. He is going to go out inside the 7-yard line. And the field goal team is coming out. Dave Wydell should be the snapper. Tommy Maddox normally is the holder. And the rookie from Hawaii, Jason Elam, will be kicking from the 15, a field goal attempt of 25 yards. And in the NFL, this is the first time that he has kicked in goal. No problem. He's got it for 3. And Denver with the drive that started at the 34-yard line, and they opened with 3 first downs in a row. Set up the field goal with 49 seconds.
Week, meaning that a lot of the plays that they would use were plays that they hadn't practiced all that much. He said this year it's different. These are plays that we've been practicing for a very long time.
Here is John Vaughn on the return, and he comes up and out of bounds. So Michael Bates, who we expected to see back there, remember he was shaken up when he came down and made the tackle, is not the return man here.
Yeah, but John Vaughn's not exactly a stiff. He led the AFC in kickoff returns last year with the New England Patriots, so it's not like they have a bad thing going.
A cramped left hamstring is a report on Michael Bates, and the report also says that he can come back.
Well, that always happens to the fast guys. I mean,
You've never had that problem.
Very rarely do you see the pulled hamstring by the right tackle. It just doesn't happen that often. It's always a fast guy that pulls his hamstring.
41 seconds left to go in the third. Seattle with the first down at their own 27-yard line. Myers pressure up the middle, side. He's wrapped up by Mike Crow. But it was a pressure up the middle that caused the happening. And that was by Dan Williams. Williams, who has made some mistakes in the ballgame, makes a good play here.
Well, the mistake there was by Jana Williams. He had Mike Kroll, and for whatever reason, he just lets him go and goes out into the flat. Watch to the left. Number 32 is blocked. It just comes out and just leaves number 51 alone. It was designed, obviously, a screen in the middle to get the ball to Williams, and they just let him go, and Meyer didn't read it.
Shane Ronette also with that pressure up the middle. 8 hurries, 7 knockdowns, 4 sacks, 1 deflector. Second and 16. Pass is completed at the 25-yard line. Lays out for an extra yard where the ball comes down.
tell you, that was a great effort. Sandwiched between Lang and Hall, he still stretches forward.
3rd down and 9. Meyer rolls out. Flag is down. He heads for the sideline. He looked out. And another good one. He has been a bright spot for the Seahawks. Taken at the 23-yard line. His first through, sets a couple of tackles. A collision at the 40-yard line. Dave McClure, who played his collegiate ball in Colorado, and the son of Kent, who played with the Raiders, makes the stop.
I should say, who scouted me as well. He was the reason I ended up with the Raiders. Scouted me there from Purdue University.
All right, let's see. Here's Denver at their own 40-yard line, 1st down. They lead by 8, 10-2. They have the touchdown and the field goal. Denver. Just over 14 and a half minutes left to go in the ball. Elway looks right, comes back left, comes back over the middle, and it is incomplete. Now let's go back in time. In a moment, we're going to go back in time. We'll kind of tease you as we set this up because we have a whole sequence that we want, and this is the last play of the first quarter when John Elway was sacked and his ankle twisted, and he came up limping, and we'll show you that as he was kind of limping off. He's limping off, and it looked, remember, last play of the quarter. So we thought Maddox was quickly ready to come in. We're back live. We'll show you the next sequence. Here we go. Now from the shotgun. And here's a little screen left side to Del Pino, and that's good for about 5 yards. Everybody expected Maddox to come back in for the first play of the second quarter. But lo and behold, it's John Elway, and what does he do?
And take a look at the pressure of that right leg. He ducks underneath. Now watch the arm strength. Look at that. Feet planted, he just guns it with his right arm and right on the money to Sharp. What a play.
The wounded Warrior, 50 yards to Shannon Sharp in the touchdown.
And as you pointed out, Charlie, had that not been the end of the quarter, Maddox would have had to come in because of the injury, but instead it was the end of the quarter. He was able to come back out and make that big play.
Or it would have cost him a timeout, and he wouldn't have taken it there. And you're right. We've got a flag on this play.
Well, then my theory is the time has come
to worship,
to Martinize that bad boy.
First down at the 50-yard line. Del Pino is brought down. And now for an update, let's go to New York City and Jim Lampley. Jim?
If he doesn't get it next year, he just had his 30th birthday. So,
oh yeah. Pass complete, far side, first down. And T-shirted on, there's Shannon Sharp again.
But you know what? That's the first catch that he's had since that long touchdown.
They haven't needed it.
Okay, well, give credit to the defense, but that's a nice shot right on the money. Sharp with a deep out route. Blackman takes him out.
Well, maybe like the shirt says, the time has come for another reception.
Oh, please.
That was 2nd down and 11. Now a first down at the 37-yard line of Seattle. And here is Del Pino, left side. Oh, man, he is met at the 34-yard line and still picks up 5 more yards. Rod Stevens and Eugene Robinson finally bring him down just inside the 30-yard line.
Well, Eugene had a good shot at him, and maybe it had something to do with his shoulder, but he came running up and had the momentum and collided with him, but Del Pino went right through him for the extra 4 yards. Good piece of running by number 39.
2nd down and a couple for the first down. A lot of time remaining in the fourth. 11:54 to count. Del Pino slashes through, and he should pick up the first down at the 26-yard line. Jeff Bryant makes the tackle. Del Pino, 9 carries for 44 yards as he comes out for a breather.
Also made some big catches. He's made a major contribution to that. Great game.
And a first down at the 26.
From Dodge City, Kansas.
Todd Bernstein, and I think a stack of Seahawks to stop him inside the 22-yard line. And Denver in the drive will be content to stay on the ground. They want to go ahead and run the clock down.
Well, and again, that they've been effective running the ball today. I think part of their problem in their losses, as we mentioned earlier, is that they haven't been that effective running the ball. When they get over 100 yards, they win, and when they don't, they don't.
Second down and 5. Throws it away. You can almost, a situation like that, you can almost read his mind. He looks right.
10 minutes and counting now.
Elway is going to throw on the run, and it is incomplete at the 5-yard line. Tillman, the intended receiver, Patrick Hunter, was there for Seattle. Elway is so dangerous when he gets out.
Certainly is, and very dangerously close to the line of scrimmage, which is the 22-yard line. See where he gets rid of the ball. Very close. Tillman, though, he's got to hang on to that ball.
And so 4th and 5 with the field goal attempt from the 29-yard line, an attempt of 39 yards by Jason Elam, who has hit from 25 yards of the ball.
Golf guy, you should know that.
Little swing, right side pass is complete to Brian Blades. He is upended. He's got the first down. Lilo Lang with the tackle.
Exhorting the crowd on. You know, Charlie, that was a big miss because now they're still within a touchdown and a field goal. If they make that field goal, of course, that would mean 2 touchdowns, and this offense probably isn't capable of that.
Right side pass is complete to John L. Williams, and he goes out. That'll stop the clock. 9:46 left in the ballgame. Frank Robinson had the coverage for the Broncos.
Larry Kinnon, offensive coordinator, realizing at this point they're going to have to open some things up.
Broncos up by 8 points, 10-2.
Larry Kinnon there, the offensive coordinator. He was the coach of the London Monarchs in the new league when they won the championship some 2 years ago. And interestingly enough, his quarterback, who's now the backup here at Seattle, was Stan Gelbaugh.
Martin breaks free. Martin to the 20-yard line. Braxton catches it. And Myers drilled it between 3 Bronco defenders, 42 yards on the play.
He just finds the gap in the middle. You're right, Charlie. There are a lot of white shirts there, and he's able to find the seam. Look at that, right between the hands. And this is a big play by Tyrone Braxton to run him down, especially with the way the Seahawk offense has struggled. That could, not trying to attempt to be prescient here, but that's a big play by Braxton, particularly if they force a field goal.
We have a flag down at the 39-yard line, and that was just a yard away. Clock is stopped with 9:17. That is the time remaining in the ball game. Denver leads by 8.
There's no foul on the play. It was ruled.
Monday when they're looking at the films, the offensive coordinator and offensive line coach are going to be chewing somebody out for making a block that was so far away from the play.
The ball at the Denver 21-yard line, and it's a first down for Seattle. Meyer drills this one, and it's almost intercepted. Ronnie Bradford, the rookie free agent from Colorado, had it. He couldn't pull it down.
Once again, there's a case of Meyer just making the decision right now. Clearly, they do a great job of coverage. Cuts to the inside. Bradford is right there, as well as Braxton to put the hit on Martin. That's when he was lucky to get back.
2nd and 10, 21-yard line of Denver.
This could be the
goes
This
against
could
Denver.
be, I think this,
Number 34. 5-yard penalty.
that was quite a stiff arm that John L. Williams put on Braxton. He's making the same point. He said, wait a minute, didn't he stiff arm didn't he have his hand on my face too? Here comes number 32. Now Braxton's going to come up. Where's the left hand go? Right in his face too. His went into his face, and whatever Braxton had a hold of Williams couldn't have been for long. See, I don't know about that. That's pretty
close. They will
close.
spot the ball at the 13-yard line. Here's the time remaining and the score. It is 2nd down and 2 at the Denver 13. John L. Williams is the remaining back, and he carries and should pick up the first down.
Where it's tough inside the 20.
From the shotgun. All alone, no. Right on his back. Martin was there. Robinson was climbing his back. For a moment, I thought Robinson was open. Oh, and that was close to pass interference also, but we'll bring it back to the 10.
Seattle's offense inside the 20, not exactly a juggernaut to this point. You can see half of the times are touchdowns, 9 for 9 on field goals. That's all well and good. 1 turnover. They do need a touchdown and field goal to win. So kicking a field goal is not a bad thing, but they certainly like the 7 right here.
Buying some time, buying some more time, throwing incomplete. That's not a bad play by the rookie quarterback. He bought as much time as he could. He was drilling that right down the sideline, so only Paul Green could catch it, so he could not be intercepted. And he had, he simply had run out of time and things to do and a breathe.
And this is great coverage on the part of Denver right here. As you say, buying time, hanging with him, running all over the field, staying with him completely. Boy, that's excellent coverage.
That's Rondell Jones, the rookie from North Carolina. His nickname is Scorpion, and he certainly stuck to him on that one.
He did. All over Paul Green.
3rd down, goal to go. Back to the kickoff. Denver, 1st down. They're on 20-yard line. Bernstein and Delfino, the running back. Play action fake. Elway throws, pass complete, 1st down. 36-yard line, a quick 16 to Derek Russell. Dwayne Harper bumps him out.
Give credit to Fossil, the offensive coordinator, and John Elway, the confidence that he has, not having a great game at all. Instead of just running into the line or going with the short pass, they go with the short corner route here. Deep out, come back to Russell. What a throw by Elway, right on the money.
36-yard line, 7:37 is counting time.
There's Jim Fossil right there, offensive coordinator, who opted now to be on the sidelines instead of being up in the booth because he has a better feel for the game.
Delfino carries to the 40-yard line. That's a gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6 as Rod Stevens makes the tackle. They were part of that Stanford connection. He was the assistant coach, quarterback coach there when John Elway was the quarterback.
Fossil has aged a bit. Look at that. Looks great. Elway looks a little thicker.
Second down and 6. Here's the pitch to Bernstein. Oh, and he is beat backwards as he has hit at the 40-yard line and then down. He may make it to the 41, but he is nailed by Patrick Hunter and Tua Tagovailoa.
This is where it's all on the shoulders of number 7 right here. Biggest play of the game. Bernstein cuts to the outside. They force him inside, and that's what it sets up right now, 3rd and 5. unfortunately, is a pretty big loss, Charlie, and that's because they are really limited. Rusty Tillman doesn't have a lot of defensive backs he can call on. Brian Allred is inactive, and Carlton Gray, who has 4 interceptions, is not there either. Watch at the end right there. Oh, just caught him there in the midsection.
And, of course, the reason that time has been stopped from the field of play is that he is only a step or two away from the sideline, and a sweep to the left side, there could be a collision and all kinds of things could happen, and that's the reason for the timeout. We've talked about John Elway. We've talked about the Stanford connection. I came across a bit of trivia this past week on Stanford, which I hadn't realized.
Yes.
All of the great players that have come from Stanford, and we see them across the National Football League. How many Stanford players, former Stanford players, are in the NFL Hall of Fame? Did you see the same article?
No, I didn't. No, I'm actually.
But let's let everybody
got
play
my
with
attention.
That's a good
okay.
one. That is a good one.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Oh, are you waiting
Time's
for
up,
me to
yeah,
say?
time's
Okay.
up, yeah.
I didn't hear.
Let's move right along.
Aren't you going to give me the Jeopardy theme song? Here it is.
3rd down and 5. Elway throws. It is caught at the 49-yard line. The sliding reception in front of the Denver bench. And again, it is Derek Russell.
3 different occasions now Derek Russell has run that out route and gotten open, and crucial situations. Where's that ball? Oh, he does. He gets his hands underneath it. Great catch by Russell. Rusty Tillman watching the play. Is that a little bit short now? Well, what can you say? The guy made a great throw and he ran a great route.
At the Seattle 48-yard line, that was 3rd down and 5. It's 1st down. 5:41 and counting. Time remaining. Here's a sweep to the near side. Here's Bernstein. He cuts back, and he will go to the 44-yard line. A gain of 4. 2nd down and 6. Joe Nash stopping Rod Bernstein.
Seattle can ill afford to give up the 5 and 6 yards on 1st down, because now you can see everybody walking back to the huddle as the clock is running. 5:18 and counting.
Todd Bernstein having a most productive season for the Denver Broncos, both rushing and receiving. Bit of a slow start. Now he's involved in everything. 2nd down and 6. Delfino is down by Jeff Blanc. And again, Denver will face a crucial 3rd down. Spot the ball at the 45. It's going to be 3rd down and 7. It is now a final at Arrowhead Stadium. Kansas City has defeated Buffalo 23-7. That is a final. It's just in.
Now, how big does that gap by Leon Lett loom to the Buffalo Bills? A sure loss, or so they thought, by Miami.
And now Miami in sole possession of the East. Elway's going to scramble. Can he make it? He points for a block. He keeps going. He's got it. And he was kind of lumbering along. So in this drive, Denver converting on 3rd and 5. And now Elway with a scramble of 3rd and 7.
And if you can read the lips of Rusty Tillman, this is why. He makes a little bit of a juke right there. Block him. Do something, Bernstein. Instead, he's able to sidestep James Jefferson, and that's one that he's going to see in his sleep. And here's the very angry, the tippertive reaction. Oh, man, is he upset.
He needed 7, and John got 8. 1st down, 37-yard line. Little play action fake, has pressure, goes for it all, into coverage, flag is down. Russell, the intended receiver.
No. I'd have to see the replay. I don't know about that. No, that's terrible. He's running right with him. That shouldn't happen in a game like this at this point. No.
Now remember, when we take a look at the replay, that the defender has an equal opportunity to catch the ball as the offensive receiver. Normally the key is if you're looking back and playing the ball, you can get away with almost anything. And we'll take a look.
Now take a look. He's running stride for stride. Now what does he do?
Interference penalty called on Dwayne Harper, number 29, who's sitting right there on the bench, and he was explaining it to everybody, and he's got a good explanation. After the kickoff, we're going to take another look. And remember that the defender has the same right as the receiver, and the receiver is the same right as the defender. John Vaughn is the return man, and he's going to take the 2. He's out to the 10, to the 20, and will be stopped around the 22-yard line. Now let's go back to the penalty, and watch the offensive player also. I think you could call it either way. If you can call it either way, then you should call it.
Little hand thing here. Here comes the ball. Both guys go after the football. There's just no way. No, you can't. You just can't call that. And you know what? I'm not of the opinion. It's interesting how in the other sports, in hockey, it's the axiom of, hey, in the last 2 minutes, there are no penalties. Basketball the same way. An official shouldn't decide it. That sort of thing. If it's blatant, that's one thing. In this case, it was very ticky-tack. You can't call that in a 10-9 game. You just can't.
Seattle now from their own 23-yard line. Myers sails this one incomplete. He got away from it. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And you can almost feel as if the wind is out of the sails of the Seattle Seahawks. They are a ball game that is struggling on offense, a young ball game, a ball club with Denver's a young ball club too, but they have a young quarterback.
Yeah.
And it's a fragile offense.
It is.
And they were so close, and they played so well. But to win or to lose it, that's something else. But to win or lose it on an official's call, which is very marginal, that shouldn't happen.
Yep.
Myers' pass is complete. And this is Paul Green, one of the 3 tight ends. That's Seattle carry. And it's going to be 3rd down.
You have to hurry up a little bit here with 3:30 and counting. Probably 4-down territory as well.
3rd down and 5. 4-man rush. Myers throws. It sails on him again. 2nd time that it sailed. Brian Blaze, the intended receiver. Braxton had the coverage. It will be 4th down. 3:16. Now, is the time remaining, and the score is 17-9.
Now, again, Charlie, I realize that the air might be out of the balloon here, but it's 4th down and 5. And there's 3:16 left, and you've got to score twice. And you've got to take a shot here. You can't punt. I know Tom's conservative by nature, but here I can't agree with this. This is pretty much conceding the game.
Tracy Johnson is the up back. Are we looking at the possibility of a fake? No, we're not. Here's the kick. It's another good one. Back to the 19-yard line, starts left, comes back right, runs into his own player, and then he's wrapped up for no return. Doug Thomas was there along with Dave McCluen. Tonight is Bonanza night. And just in from Bonanza, no, that's not. All right, Denver at their own 20-yard line, 1st down. With a 17-9 lead. Now need to use up about 3 minutes on the clock. Robert Delpino gets the call. Let me not forget our trivia question on Stanford football players in the NFL Hall of Fame.
I keep thinking about it. I keep thinking there's John Brody, Gene Washington, but those guys aren't in the Hall of Fame.
They're not in the Hall of Fame. And while you think, we've got a timeout, so we'll step away for a moment. We'll be back with the answer. He stays in bounds. Watch him. He just comes down. Rather than just...
He scored 40 points. He and Gale Sayers are the only ones to ever score 6 touchdowns in a single game, but because Ernie Nevers kicked extra points and Gale Sayers didn't, he kicked 4 out of the 6 of his touchdowns, and that's why he holds still the NFL record for points.
Now is 8-3. We haven't given Denver, but if Denver goes on to win, they would be 7-4 to 37.
I was just thinking when we showed Kansas City, how
the starting loss. Pass is incomplete for Doug Thomas over his head.
That makes him like 5-1 or so.
1st down, Calvin Martin. Martin to the 42-yard line, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning. And so Seattle trying to back.
Well, this game is certainly not going to go into John Elway's highlight reel, but this play is. Ducking under David Brandon with his feet stuck, gunning a 50-yard touchdown to Shannon Sharp. That's one that definitely has to make the highlight reel, along with his 31 fourth-quarter comebacks. That is our Hager wrinkle-free cotton super play of the week. 2
minutes to go. Seattle Seattle with a first down at the Denver 42-yard line. Higher side. He just hung in there too long, and Jeff Robinson, the rookie from Idaho, got it. And you can credit the secondary of the Broncos because they had excellent coverage downfield. They took everybody away. 2nd and 16 at the 48. Throwing back underneath the covers to John L. Williams. 37-yard line.
The interesting thing coming into vote now, Charlie, is that with 2 scores, Seattle has to think about here if they come up on 4th down whether or not they want to kick the field goal or go for it, knowing that they have to get 10 points here. A lot of them have been opting for the field goal.
Myers going to be sacked at the 44-yard line. Mike Crow pulled him down.
But since the guy can't kick a 60-yarder, they're going to have to go for it here.
Simon Fletcher also had a piece of the play. And the line of scrimmage is now the 43-yard line. And it will be 4th down and 11. Seahawks from the shotgun. And Denver dropping 5 deep in the secondary. And the pass is tipped. It is incomplete. There's a flag down.
This would be what you would call certainly a close game.
Very definitely.
And so by winning ugly, as you would say, that gives them the confidence that John Elway doesn't have to throw for 300 yards and score 28 touchdowns for the Denver Broncos to win.
The other point from Denver's standpoint is that they have been in every ballgame. They have not been blown away. Almost everybody in the NFL at one time or another at this point of the season has been blown away. They have not. They have been in every ballgame. So they have positioned themselves for a run at the playoffs. Here's the countdown. That makes it official. The final score is Denver 17, Seattle 9, and we'll be back in just a moment.